So you learn SQL, you learn Power BI. You put both of them on your resume. You even put data analyst on your LinkedIn headline. Now you're sitting there looking at the computer like, so is anybody going to give me a job? You then apply for 30 jobs. Nothing. Not an interview, not a phone call, not even one of those rejection emails that tell you, we were impressed with your background. No, you weren't. You rejected me in 13 minutes. Here's the problem. Knowing SQL and Power BI is one thing, but eventually a company is going to want you to prove, can you actually do anything with it? And that's where projects come in. So today I'm going to give you 3 data analyst projects that you can actually build that show employers what you're actually capable of with some real business problems. And I'm also going to show you how to put them on your resume so you don't write, created a dashboard using Power BI. Congratulations. So did everybody else and their mama. We're going to make you actually sound like you solved something. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Bill, aka Sub-Zero. I run Lift in the Veil IT Academy. I've been working in IT for well over 18 years. And one of the mistakes I see people make is they confuse learning projects with portfolio projects. That's not the same thing. Let me explain. When you're learning, I don't care what data set you want to use, right? You're just trying to practice. So download something, break it, fix it, break it again. That's how you learn. If you're learning SQL, practice your joins, group by, CTEs, practice your window functions. If you're learning Power BI, build dashboards, learn Power Query, learn how to create relationships, different stuff like that, right? That's all good. But once you put something in a portfolio, it's a whole different ball of wax. Your portfolio needs to make somebody think, I can give this person a problem and they'll be able to figure it out. Because think about an actual data analyst job. Your manager isn't going to walk over to your desk on Monday and say, I need 7 inner joins by lunch. That's not how it works, guys. More than likely, they're probably going to say something like, sales are down, why? Customers are leaving, why? This department is spending too much money, what's going on? That's the job. SQL isn't the job. Power BI isn't the job. They're the tools you're going to use to do the job. And that's exactly the frame of mind I want you guys to be in when we approach these 3 projects. All right, here we go. Project number 1. You're going to do a customer churn and revenue risk analysis project. And we're going to make this primarily a SQL focused project. Here's the scenario. You're working for a subscription company. Management comes to you and says, we're losing customers. We need to understand who's leaving, why they're leaving, and how much money are we actually losing. Boom. That's the project right there. Notice you didn't say, hey, can you demonstrate what a CTE is? They don't care about CTEs. They care about their money. They care about their dollars. That's what they care about. And that's the mindset I want you to have. Now, maybe you've got several tables: customers, subscriptions, transactions, products, cancellation information, and don't make everything perfect. Actually, I want some problems in there. Give yourself some nulls. Give yourself some duplicates. Give yourself some customers without transactions. Give yourself some records that don't match, because guess what? That's real data. I've been doing this for a long time. Companies do not hand you beautiful little data sets with everything set up perfectly. Sometimes you open up a database and it looks like who done it, right? Real talk. Then when you ask, somebody's like, well, that wasn't me. That was Steve. He worked here in 2015. Yeah, of course. And Steve didn't document anything. Rarely will you get actual documentation. Just be aware. It's a gem when you actually go to a company and they have real documentation. Now you need to start investigating. Use your joins, use your group bys, case statements, CTEs, window functions. If you're comfortable with them, start calculating churn. Look at the different customer segments. Look at subscription tenure. Look at subscription levels. Look at purchasing behavior. And eventually you'll discover something. Let's say customers on your basic subscription level plan have a 22% higher churn rate during the first 6 months. Now you've got something, but we're not finished. This is where a lot of people stop. They put their SQL script on GitHub and say, customer churn analysis. Okay, what did you analyze? And more importantly, what should the company do? Maybe your recommendation is customers in the basic subscription tier represented the highest churn risk, particularly during the first 6 months. I recommend targeting those customers with an early stage retention program. Now you're talking like an analyst. So now at this point, you can change a bullet point on your resume from something like created SQL queries to analyze customer data to analyze customer churn rates using SQL cohort and segmentation analysis, identifying a high-risk customer segment and recommending targeted retention strategies to reduce revenue loss. See the difference? One says I know SQL, the other one says I know how to use SQL to solve problems. That's what they want. All right, now we're going to move on to project number 2. In this project, we're going to use Power BI or Tableau, but we're not just going to build a dashboard. We're going to build a dashboard for a specific person. Here's the scenario. You're working with the VP of sales, and every Monday morning he comes in, he wants to know, how are we doing? That's your project. Build a dashboard that the person would actually want to use. And please, don't build a dashboard with 37 charts. People learn Power BI, and all of a sudden, they filling up one page with a pie chart, bar chart, map, gauge, tree map, donut chart, everything blinking. They got stuff all over the place. And the person that uses it is like, look, all I wanted to know was if we're making money or not. Keep it simple. Maybe we need total revenue, revenue versus target, revenue year over year growth, sales by region, top products, bottom products, sales rep performance, profit margin. That's enough. Because remember, guys, the goal isn't charts. The goal is decisions. Let's say revenue is down 8%. Okay, why? We drill into the data. Now we see that one region is responsible for most of the decline. Then we drill down again. 3 sales representatives are significantly below quota. Now we've got something management can actually investigate. That's the difference between I built a dashboard and I built a reporting solution that helped identify where the business was underperforming. Big difference. Now, guys, don't miss the next part because almost nobody does this. After you finish the dashboard, record yourself explaining it. 60 seconds. That's it. Don't panic. Just do a 60-second walkthrough saying, here's the problem. Here are the KPIs or key performance indexes. Here's what I discovered. Here's what I recommended. Now I'm not just seeing that you know Power BI. I'm seeing that you can communicate, and that's important because eventually you're going to have to explain this stuff to somebody who doesn't know SQL. They don't care about DAX. They don't care about your data model. They want to know, hey, are we making money or not? And that's the answer you need to have. So now you can add a resume bullet point saying developed an executive Power BI sales dashboard tracking revenue, quota attainment, regional performance, and product trends, enabling leadership to identify underperforming markets and sales opportunities. Again, don't just tell me what you built. Tell me why it mattered. Okay, now we're on to project number 3. This is the big one. If you're only going to spend serious time building one major portfolio project, I'd spend it here because now we're putting everything together. Raw data to SQL to cleaning to data model to Power BI to insight recommendation. This is what starts to make you look like somebody that can actually do the job. Here's the scenario. You're working for a retail company with multiple locations. Management comes to you and says, some of our stores are underperforming. Figure out why this is happening. That's it. They don't tell you which query to write. They don't tell you which chart to build. They don't tell you anything. They just tell you a problem. Maybe you've got sales, stores, employees, products, inventory, customers, and returns. All of this is in spreadsheets. First, get your data into the database. Then clean it. Handle your nulls. Remove your duplicates. Build your own joins. Create your business logic. Validate your numbers. Repeat, validate your numbers because nothing will ruin your day faster than walking into a meeting with all the people in management saying, yeah, last year we made 14 million. And then someone interrupts and says, the whole company grossed 6 million last year. Well, Meeting over, pack up your laptop, time to go. So validate your data, then create your reporting level and connect it to Power BI. Now we start analyzing. Maybe 3 stores have strong sales but terrible margins. Why? They're discounting too heavily. Maybe another store has plenty of customers coming through the door but poor conversion. Why? Maybe another location has strong sales but one product category has an unusually high return rate. Now you're not just building charts, we're investigating a business problem. And here's why project number 3 is so powerful. Someone is going to ask you on an interview, walk me through one of your projects. I started with the business problem. I identified the data I needed, loaded the data source into SQL Server, cleaned and combined data sets, created the reporting layer, and then developed a Power BI dashboard to analyze store performance. My analysis identified several underperforming locations and the primary factors contributing to their performance. Guys, that's a completely different answer than something like, I took Power BI on Udemy. You're showing SQL, data cleaning, data modeling, Power BI, visualization. You're doing everything. Business analysis, problem solving, communication. You're demonstrating almost the entire analyst workflow with one project. Okay, guys, so now that you've built the projects, they should answer 4 questions. Number 1, what was the problem? Don't start with something like, I use SQL Server and Power BI. They don't care yet. Tell them management needed to understand why customer churn was increasing. Now they're actually listening. Number 2, what did you do? Now tell them about SQL, Power BI, Tableau, whatever you used. Number 3, what did you discover? What did the data actually tell you? Number 4, what did you recommend? This is where you separate yourself because data analysts don't just make charts. We help businesses make informed decisions using data. So the structure is problem, approach, analysis, findings, recommendation. And then you might want to add what I would do next. Maybe you need more historical data. Maybe you'd like to collect more customer surveys. Maybe you'd automate the refresh. Maybe you'd add forecasting. That shows me you're still thinking about the problem. Now you want to make the project easily discoverable. Put the project on GitHub or some simple portfolio website. Put it on the LinkedIn featured section. Put the link on your resume. Also put that 60-second walkthrough on there too. Make everything easy to find. Don't make the hiring manager have to become Sherlock Holmes to find your project. Real talk. Because they're not going to do it. They're just going to move on to the next resume. So guys, if you've been watching this series, I want you to see how all of this starts to come together. You learn SQL, you learn Power BI, you practice, you build projects, but eventually you've got to demonstrate I can actually use these skills to solve a problem. That's the piece a lot of people miss. They learn SQL, they learn Power BI, then they start applying for jobs. And after application number 150, they start sitting there like, maybe this isn't for me. That's not the problem. We just need to fix how you're presenting yourself. Give these companies a reason to believe you can do the work. And if you're sitting there saying, okay, sub, I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to figure all this out on my own. I need help. That's exactly why we created Lifting the Veil IT Academy. We're not just throwing videos at you and saying, good luck, may the odds be in your favor. You're actually going to learn the skills. You're using them, you're building, and you're getting feedback. Because there's a difference between watching somebody write SQL and being able to write it yourself. And there's a big difference between watching somebody build a Power BI dashboard and sitting there in an interview and being able to say, here's the problem I was solving, here's what I found, and here is what I recommend. That's what we're trying to develop. So if you're serious about becoming a data analyst and you want help putting all these pieces together, go over to www.ltvacademy.com. Check us out. We have live classes 3 times a week. You can share your screen. You can get personal phone numbers. You can unmute your microphone and literally talk. And I can sit over and look at your screen and tell you what you're doing wrong. So check us out. And meanwhile, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.